Okay, on tillage soils, we've heard that we're at a risk of losing carbon. So how do we counter that? Is there anything we can do? Well, there is. We can actually try and add carbon back into the soil. And today we're talking about using straw incorporation and cover cropping to do that. So if we take, say, a big crop of winter wheat, we chop it after the combine, incorporate it into the soil, a certain amount of carbon that's in that wheat will be retained in the soil. And that amounts to around 500 kilos or a half tonne per hectare. It sounds big, but it's relatively small considering the huge volume of soil that's there. But it is a good addition to have. Farmyard manure might add about half that amount to the soil, a typical application. Slurry, quite a bit less. If we use a cover crop though, again, our cover crop, we are getting a reasonable addition of carbon to the soil, about 250 kilos from a 3-tonne cover crop to the soil. So that's one of the reasons for growing cover crops, that we can actually add carbon to the soil, as well as for straw incorporation doing the same. The other benefit, of course, and the other reason we use cover crops is to capture nutrients that are in the soil and to prevent them from being lost into the groundwater, which is a pollution risk. And we've done work in Oak Park over the years on that, and have shown that on lighter soils it can make a huge impact to the amount of nitrogen that's lost to the groundwater. But we can't assume that that nitrogen is going to be available to the following crop that we sow after the cover crop, because that can vary a huge amount, and in many cases there's very little extra nitrogen available to the subsequent crop. The exception may be legumes, because by growing a legume you may indeed have nitrogen that's available to the following crop. So the message here has to be to use straw incorporation and cover crops to try and add to the organic pool. That is a positive, and of course the other benefit from using cover crops is that we capture nutrients.